Hello, you. This is your weekly update for today, May the 4th. And we have.
May the 4th be with you.
And may the 4th be with you, indeed. Thank you. Yes, Kate is here. Thank you, Kate. And hello, Sanya, as well.
Hello.
And we're going to do a little kind of team update. Your questions, as always, come to where, Sanya? She's muted. To
hello@magfast.com.
Yeah, just hello@magfast.com. We are here. We're absolutely here 5 days a week, and generally there are folks working over the weekend as well. But we do try to let Kate and Sanya and Marla, who's joining us now, have a little bit of time off as well. So thank you. Please keep your questions coming. Let's do some updates. The first thing I want to show you is if I do a quick. I want to do a screen share here. Let me do a screen share so that the ladies can see this as we're doing it as well. All right, you guys see my screen here? So you may remember this from a week or two ago. And by the way, as always, it's come up in isometric, which is this really, doesn't that look crazy? So I'm going to make it look like a human would expect to see it. Oop, hang on. There, like that. So now we recognize it. So this is the model that you saw a few weeks ago. You remember I showed you that this, oh, hang on, it's slipped out of perspective again. There we go. You remember I showed you that you can take this cover off or make it transparent, and you can see some of the components inside and so on. We've got obviously the cable up in the top there, the micro USB in the bottom. It's coming along very nicely. You can take the back off. I'll make that transparent as well. And you can see, can you just see the slight ring in there? You guys see that okay?
Yes.
So that's the Qi charging in the back. So you've got charging in the back and out in the front. It's actually called... I'm going to stop screen sharing now. It's actually called bilateral charging, charging in and out, both with Qi. You remember that life has 4 ways of getting power in, 5 ways of getting power out. We don't know if anyone else is doing that, and there's a lot to pack in. Now, that I've shown you the diagrams on the screen before, but I now finally have a model of the shell to show you. And I don't know how well this is going to come across on camera, but can you guys, is this still sharp for you?
Yes.
Can you see how beautiful and intricate this thing is? So this is the difference between this and your MAGFAST Life When It Arrives for You is that this is a very, very fine 3D model. Yours will be made on a production line with those big expensive tools I'm always talking about. But the accuracy is simply extraordinary. And if I just take this one piece out here and show it to you, can you see how incredibly intricate all of these parts are? And I'm not going to jam that back in for risk of damaging it on the way in, because these are handmade models. They're kind of delicate. They're just for sort of meetings and so on. But here's that back plate going on like that. Boom, 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 boom. And the front plate here, I want you to just see. We're always saying, can you see the gloss on it? Is the gloss showing there? There you go. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Ooh, like that. Lovely, smooth, glossy surface, which is a model glossy, but it's an example of the kind of gloss we're going to have. And this goes on the front like this. I'm actually not going to push it on because there's a risk that if I snap it on, it'll stay on. And this is the only one that I've got at the moment, because for manufacturing, the thing is designed to be easy and fast to assemble, of course, but then be rock solid once it is assembled. And I was thrilled. I met with Sean Herzinger yesterday, who's chief engineer at P3. P3 are our manufacturing partners, together with the folks overseas. And I was looking at this, and I was looking at the whole thing, and I was saying, come on, Sean, you've been doing this for 30 years, making really high quality stuff. When you look at this, do you it looks beautiful? It just looks beautiful to me. Do you have any concerns? Is there anything that anything that I should know? He said no. He said it's fantastic. He said my only concern is it's over engineered. All right. Now, what does it over engineered means? It means if you make bridges for a living, right? You don't want the bridge to be strong enough for the amount of traffic that's going to go over it. You want it to be strong enough for like 3 times the amount of traffic, or the wind forces and so on that they're going to have. But the top manufacturers like Apple are over engineering way and beyond that. And one of the reasons that we're doing this very slowly and carefully is because we're aiming to get a level of quality. We're going to get a level of quality that is not in this market at the moment. And I was telling Kate and Sonia before we started, I bought. Have you seen this company Away that makes luggage? AWAY that makes luggage, and they're a big deal and everything at the moment. And they have these chargers that come built in. And I got one of their pieces of luggage. It's very nice. I got a little carry-on. I just wanted to have a look and see how they're making them. Kind of keeping an eye on what other companies are doing in different areas. But it came with a built-in charger. The charger's a perfectly nice charger, but it's not special. And our promise has always been that we're going to make something amazing, and that we are doing. So there's that, and then I just wanted to show you the cable. This actually isn't a flexible cable yet. This has been made out of hard. This is made out of a hard plastic. It's not flexible, but it was just a model so that we could take a look at it. There's a couple of slight. A couple of slight tunes I want to do to it. I think we're gonna just touch up a little bit the way the plastic moves in this area here, and let me put it into position for you so you can see how it looks in the end here. Look at that. This is lovely kind of figure of 8 shape going on between the two ends, and I'm just feeling. Hang on, up at this end. You see that curve there? I think just needs a little more. It's a little more love. I don't know quite how to describe it, but Christo and I are going to look at that tonight. The good thing about the cables is that they're quick to be done, so we've got plenty of time to make adjustments to the cables. Anyway, that's your model. What do you think, ladies? Because Sanya and Kate are actually seeing this for the first time right now. Were you able to see it on the camera? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
I'm excited. All right, let's go through some questions. I know you've got a couple of questions from supporters,
Yes.
from backers, from fans, from enthusiasts.
Yes. We have a question from Shay.
Hey, Shay.
I just heard that Apple is pulling their new Qi charging mat because it cannot reach the acceptable level of productivity. Does their problem reveal any similar problems that will send MAGFAST back to the drawing board? They were aiming at being able to charge 3 different devices at once, and I don't think I hope you don't mind that I feel some ownership here, charger is designed to charge more than one device at a time. Does this make a difference?
So the short answer is no, we're fine. But let me respect the question by spending a little more time on it. We will be able to charge several things at once, but we're not aiming to charge several things wirelessly at once. There are different ways of approaching. I actually have a thing on my desk here. Let me get some of my clutter out of the way, and I'll show it to you. So do you guys see this thing here? All right. Let's get that chair out of the way. I didn't get the rest of the room ready for prime time. So this thing here looks kind of like what Apple were going to make, but it's extremely simple inside. It just has one coil here and one coil here, and then this thing is actually a charger for an Apple Watch charger that you actually put in there yourself. So they're not trying to do anything hard here. They've just got a charging coil, and an Apple Watch charger. So really, it's like it's an Apple Watch and then 2 wireless chargers close together, right? And then they just put a case around it. Does that make sense before I go on to the next bit? So if I were to draw up here, what those guys are doing, and God bless them. I mean, they did it a year ago, and I have it on my desk, and I use it every day. It's great. But what they did was that they made a thing like this. Right, you actually put your own Apple Watch charger in there, and then you kind of wind up the wires inside. And then they've put a coil in here and a coil in here. Okay. Now, if you study what Apple were doing, it was like 100 times hard. Anybody could do this. You could do this yourself at home. You could just buy some Qi chargers and get a piece of wood, and you could make one of these yourself. Right. What Apple were doing was something that no one has done before, and is essentially was kind of reaching the limits of physics, which is they were putting zillions of, and obviously they were arranging them beautifully, but they were putting zillions of little coils in here like this. You guys see this? My pen's running out, but you can see what I've just drew up there. The idea being that you could place any of your devices any way you wanted, and several coils would detect what was going on and kind of combine together to make a field for charging. Well, it just turned out that to do it at the power levels that were required, in the space that was required, and this, that, and the other, it was producing too much heat. It was just too difficult. So we are not attempting to do anything like that, right? That's what Apple was trying to do, and that's where they got into trouble. What we're doing is, in terms of engineering complexity, it's much more like the simple one I just showed you. It's just like it's 2 or 3 things close together. What we're doing, however, is that we're packing them into this very small, neat package with the magnets and everything, which no one's done before. And so when you do something that no one's done before, that you want to do at the highest possible level of quality, you take the time to do it right. And every time I've asked you, our supporters, should we take a little extra time to get this right? Every time I've polled you on that, last time we did it, it was 94% of people said, no, take the extra time. So that's what we're going to do. We have this absolute immovable commitment to quality, and we're going to take the time to do it. I'm thrilled. You can probably tell I'm thrilled with the way the products are coming forward. And yeah, I wish they were going quicker, but I'm thrilled with the way they're coming through. Does that answer the Apple charger question? I think it does, right? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
We
Next.
have another question.
Yeah.
Jean?
Hey, Jean.
I know you guys are taking meticulous care developing MAGFAST, and understand that means it takes a while.
Uh-huh.
And technology is always changing. What are you doing to make sure MAGFAST products are still ahead of the curve when the time comes to ship?
That's a great question. So, okay. So one of the things is that if you take a simple thing like USB-A, right, which is do I have one here? C is the new one. This is the new C right here. But C is a good example as well. C itself has moved on since we first announced this project, right? But we didn't order the components back when we started. We're ordering the components just in time for manufacturing. So we're going to be as we design the space, we'll always be putting the latest and best components into the spots that are available. And the fundamental architecture of charging is now set for the coming years. It's USB-C and it's Qi. That's the future of charging. That's the future of charging. But right now, you may not be using either of those things. Most people watching this now, even intelligent and advanced folks like you who are supporters of MAGFAST, we know that most folks are still using USB-A, maybe even charging it into a slower charger. But we're determined that when your MAGFAST stuff arrives, it will support anything from the last 5 years, mostly the last 10. In fact, the only thing it won't support from the last 10 years that I can really think of is Apple's old wide 30-pin connector, which really not very many people use anymore. So it'll basically support everything from the last decade, and we think the next decade as well, because USB-C, this standard here, which is just fantastic. You can put masses of power through it and lots of video and everything. That's just coming in now. Apple are just adopting it now. I know Android has had it for a while. So C is the main wired charging standard for the next 10 years, and Qi is the main wireless charging standard for the next few years. But if someone invents charging across the room using lasers, then we will simply make. Do I have one here? No, we will simply make a little MAGFAST block that attaches to the rest of the system that sends lasers off around the room, right? That's the beauty of this modular system. So the stuff that we're going to ship to you will be state-of-the-art when you get it in terms of the technologies, the charging speeds. We've done 2 upgrades to the charging technology specification while we've been working on it. We upgraded to Quick Charge 3.0, which you might still see on some of the, on the website and stuff. Quick Charge 3.0 we committed to quite a while ago, and then much more recently we've committed to Power Delivery, which is the new standard that incorporates the latest Quick Charge and a bunch of other technologies. Power Delivery is a more of a universal standard. Quick Charge was more specific to Qualcomm. So we're all over this, and remember our manufacturing partner, P3 is our New York-based partner, but we're working with these guys in Shenzhen, and it's all they do is make chargers. The main thing that they do is make chargers. They have 1 or 2 other things. They make some earbuds and some speakers and stuff, 1 or 2 other things as well. But absolutely, the main thing they do is charging, and they have products in, they make products for big names that you've heard of. So we're working, I think with some of the best people in the world But we're little. You made this. You with your contribution, you made this possible. We're not funded with billions of dollars from elsewhere. So when we work with these folks, we have to be respectful of their time and their process. But I've never seen a commitment like. The CEOs of our two partners are directly and fully involved with this project. That's not true of most places you go. Most projects, crowdfunding projects, are out there. They find someone to manufacture for them. That's great. I wish them all the luck in the world. But they don't get anything like the kind of commitment that we're blessed to have. So there was one other thing I wanted to say about, like, is it still the latest and the best? So there's two things. I think the question was more to do with, like, will we have the best charging technology? And I think I just answered that. But the other is in terms of, like, this combination of features that we have. Did I mention this the other week? I can't remember. Sean Herzinger, P3's chief engineer, was in Hong Kong for the big show a couple of weeks ago. Huge football fields, huge convention center with all these big halls. He walked around the whole thing and didn't find anything to touch what we're doing. So we remain very, very pleased and excited with it all, and committed to getting the quality out at all costs. All right, what's next?
We have some fan mail. That was the last of the questions.
That'll do.
A very nice email from Chris.
Hey, Chris.
MAGFAST needs a nitpicker to pick nits, and Seymour's the right man for the job. Not Steve Jobs nitpicky, mind you. Seymour's segment nitpicky. I'm glad he's on the job. I'd rather there be someone obsessing over all of the details than nobody. And we all knew going in we'd have to wait. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, there aren't that point I was making about the curve on the very end of the cable there. There aren't many people who would be fussing over that, but I'm afraid that's who you signed up with, and thank you for doing so. All right, thank you, Sanya. Thank you, Kate. Any questions to hello@magfast.com. Hello@magfast.com. We answer every single email, every single ticket that we receive. But two things might happen. We might not receive it because something goes funny with a spam filter, and you might not receive the answer because something goes funny with a spam filter. So feel free to call the number. It's on the website at magfast.com. Our address is at magfast.com as well. But I just, it just makes my heart bleed when someone says, "Oh, they didn't answer." We answer all of them. Well, let's ask the people who do it. Do you ever not answer emails?
No, never.
No, absolutely. Every single one is answered. All right. Thank you so much for your support. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.